What's going on, flyboard enthusiasts out there? I decided to make this video because I got a lot of requests from people asking me on our YouTube channel as what is the best board for them to start with. So it's not a review, it's more my opinion as what they should start with. Here we have the Flyboard Original, the Flyboard Pro, and the Flyboard Ultra. Now, so this is not a review per se, but it's just my opinion, especially for the beginner, what board would be the best board to set up with, and pros and cons, depending on your weight and size and so forth. So by all means, this is not a review, it's just my opinion. And by the way, please leave your message, leave your comments below, in case if you're a beginner, if you appreciate this content or not. And even if you are an expert or a intermediate, and let me know your feedback about this video that I made. I'm not going to get in detail about the sizes and so forth. I'm just going to talk about volume. So this, not review, but this opinion, let's say, is going to be more about what is the best board suited for you as a beginner on the flyboard, right? Starting 3, 2, 1, let's go. So first I have to apologize about the noise around here. There's a lot of birds singing and whatnot, so I'm doing this outside. So of course, the sound is going to be a little bit crazy. So I'm not going to get in detail about the measurements of each board because you can find that on Flyboard channel. But I'm going to talk about the main important thing, which is volume. Now, first we're going to give the recommendation for each board, then I'm going to go in the water. So we're going to start with this first, the Flyboard Original. The Flyboard Original is considered to be a beginner's board, which is 100 liters. Now, my recommendations are, if you are 100 kilos and above, or 220 pounds and above, I think this is definitely the first board you should start with. Now, take consideration also, if you're a beginner and you have no skills at all whatsoever and no experience, I'll definitely jump in this board right there, do specifically because of your weight. Now, if you're below that, way below that, maybe you shouldn't start with that. If you're 150 pounds or about 70 kilos, you should go for the next step, but I'm gonna get into that later. So this basically for the beginner and have not much motor skills at all whatsoever, beginner and weights above 90 to 100 kilos or 220 pounds. Let me get in the water right now and talk about that. Now, there are 3 things I forgot to mention to you guys. One, I'm using the flyer with no shroud protection. So this is more intermediate rider setup because I didn't want to go through the whole process of putting the beginner's setup. But this is not about the setup at the bottom, it's actually about the board, how the board behaves. 2, I am closer to 210 pounds right now. Give and take, I'm at 95 kilos because I got my gear on and I got my bag as well, my spare bag. And I'm close to 95 kilos to 100 kilos or 210 to 220 pounds. And finally, the third thing that I'm going to mention is that I am messed up still, meaning I messed up my knee about 3 months ago, and so I'm off balance. So which actually is going to make this more legit because I'm off balance. I don't have the strength in my legs, so I'm going to behave like a beginner. And not that I want to, it's because I have to. And if you want to see how to learn how to e-foil, I have a website, I have a video about that. I'm not going to get in detail how to get up, that's up to you later. But if you want to look at that video, just go to the link below, you're going to see as well. So without further ado, let me get this in the water. Now, let me start talking about the flotation. You see the size of this board? I'm about basic 210 pounds to 220 pounds, maybe 95, 90 kilos. And I completely got flotation all around. I can sit on it, and it's a super stable platform. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about flotation. This board floats very well, super stable. That's why it makes so easier for it to get up on foil. So we're gonna go through the process right now, and I'm gonna try to talk about the speeds that I am or the gears that I am so you can understand the difference, all right? It's gonna be tough for me to hold the hand and do all this together. So once again, I'm on the board right now, laying down, I'm prepping everything and starting right now. You see the board doesn't jump up that much, the nose doesn't get up that much because it's a very long board. And I'm going through gears right now, and you can see the board is kind of already leveled because there's a lot of flotation. I'm at speed 3. I'm already able to be stable on the board. Going to 4 right now. Dropping my hand. Standing up. And as you can see, the board's already planing, meaning from here now, I can already get on the foil. And I'm just gonna increase right now. I'm at 5, I'm gonna go to 6, and from here now, I can take off. So, I'm up on foil. Now, sorry about that, try to avoid the wind. Once you're up on foil, you can even walk on the top of the board to find your center of gravity. So that's why this board is so stable, because although I'm already on the foil, I can actually slightly move my feet and get a better balance. Once you are on foil on this board, you probably won't notice that as a beginner, but it is a slower moving board. You try to move, it takes a little while to respond. You notice that if you already are used to riding, but it's a super stable board. It takes a little while for it to make turns, and it does turn, but it doesn't feel like it's heavy, but it does take a little bit for it to turn that nose. And one good thing about this board too, I'm only at gear 4 right now, and look at this, I'm planing in the water right now, which gives you plenty of time to adjust your balance. So that's why this is a great beginner's board, because at any time it can come down, lay down in the water, and fix my foot positioning, and I can just pick it up, and there go I am. Whoop, a little bit up on the foil, and that's it. It's a great beginner's board for sure. Now, don't take me wrong, just because a beginner board doesn't mean that you can have fun with it. You actually can throw it and it responds pretty well as well once your skills get better. But as I said, if you're a heavy rider or to have for your family, this is a great alternative. Now, the best thing about this board is landing, getting off the board, and also taking off, because they basically jump on the board and you're all set. As I said, trouble-free, great beginner's board. Let me get to the second board right now and give the feedback. Now, choice number 2 over here. Now we're going to talk about the Flyboard Pro. The Flyboard Pro comes at 65 liters. Now, my recommendations are beginner to intermediate, depending on your skills. If you are a guy who's active, have some experience in surfing or whatever, and if you are up to 90 to 100 kilos or 220 pounds, if you are somewhat very fit, this would not be a bad choice for you, because you're stepping already for the next progression. But then if you are below 90, if you are 75 kilos to 190 pounds, I think you could start on this. If you have skills, or maybe if as a beginner, it's gonna take a long learning curve, we'll be able to get up on this, okay? Which we call basically an intermediate board, and I call it the best board all around. So let me get in the water right now and talk about this. Here we have now board number 2, the Pro board. The Pro board comes at 65 liters. And as you can see, the flotation right now is very different. The 30-some plus liters makes a huge difference. Me and my weight right now, I can barely keep the nose up, and that takes a little bit of a skill for you to stay here. And if it's a chopped water, this would be much harder to do. As a beginner, it would be hard to do, but if you're used to it, this is fine. So as you can see, the water is submerged in the water. The board is submerged in the water a little bit more. And will take a little more skills for me to plane the board first. So we're gonna go through that right now and see how long it takes to take off from foil. So on the Pro, you do have to bring your body a little bit upwards, because this board is gonna kick up a little bit. So you wanna make sure your hands right on the nose and your body's forward once you start. You're gonna see that right now. Let's, oh, there you go. I already have to shift my weight forward and make sure that I'm gonna get the board to plane. And I'm still shifting my weight forward to get more speed. You see the nose still wants to kick up. With the other one, the nose was down, and it should take a little bit longer. And I'm going to 5 already, keeping pressure on the front of the nose. As you can see, the board is still not level, and I'm going faster. Now I'm starting to plane, I get in my position, and then I can stand up. I'm at 5 right now, and of course, guys, I'm doing this as a beginner, and now I can finally plane. I'm planing right now. I can finally now increase gear. I'm at 7, and that's it. I'm on foil. Once you're up on the Pro, you can still kind of move your feet around, but every movement that you make, the board becomes a little bit unstable. So that's why you gotta have a little more experience, because every movement on your feet is gonna give a feedback to the board. And now let's talk about how this board feels once you are up in the air on the foil. It's super loose. You don't feel that nose weight or length weight of the board, so it does respond much faster. Any input that you put on the board responds right away. It's a much looser board. That's why I love this thing. For me, it's an all-around board. For me, it's an all-around board, as I said, that you can do anything with in any situation. All right, now before one more thing. Now, once again, I'm playing in the water right now. I'm about 5, going to 6 to be more comfortable. So it takes a little more speed for you to make the board plane. Now, the landing, it can be a little bit tricky, but it's almost like oh, there you go. It just went away from me. And if this happens, guys, let me teach you a little trick. You go set up the board to kick back to you. You can do this. Oh, hey, let's go, baby. Come back to daddy. And you make a jump, and hopefully you come this way. But once again, it's a fun board, man. And here now we have the Baby Ultra. Now, the Baby Ultra I have a love and hate relationship with. Let me say this right off the bat. If you're a beginner, above 90 to 100 kilos, 220 pounds, you should not get this board. Trust me, I don't care how graceful you think you are or how good you think you are, there's gonna be a pain in the butt. However, once again, this is more an expert board. But then again, if you are very, very, how can I say, athletic person, and you're that 75 pounds, 75 kilos, up or below, or if you're about 160 pounds, 170 pounds, and if you're very, very active and have some experience maybe in foiling or wakeboarding or any sport like that, maybe you probably could start with this. However, you're very limited in terms of fun, because this is great for it to toss around, mainly for surfing. But in my opinion, it's not all-around board. That's why I usually like this for all-around. Can do everything with this. You can cruise, you can surf. With this, although it's super fun, but it's better for you to be surfing with, and for an expert, all right? So let me get this in the water right now and talk about the pros and cons about how to get this on foil. Finally now, here I have the tiny Ultra. You can barely see it right now because first it's a very murky water and it's a dark board, so you can see it all, but I'm actually sitting on it. I'm bringing the tip so you can see it, and it's murky water so you can see the board. But the board is completely submerged. So that's gonna happen to you if you're 200 pounds. That's one of the problems with the board. Not a problem, but that's what it is. And most likely, because you're sitting down and the board is so deep down, most likely, let me see. See, there you go. No, it's working right now. The Bluetooth sometimes disconnects because the tail is way too down the water. So let me now, as you can see, there's not much flotation. You completely disappear the board. But if I bring it up, there's the nose right there. All right, so let me get this on the foil right now. Now, once you lay down, of course, the back a little close to the surface, so you don't lose the Bluetooth, which I still have here going. But you gotta notice right away that once I press go, the nose wants to kick up, way up, and you really gotta switch your weight forward. Let's do that right now. And see how much it kicks? You gotta really keep your weight over there. Wait for the speed, increase the speed a little bit, and push that nose even more farther forward. And it's still not planing yet. See how long it takes? I'm at 3, gonna go 4, 5. I'm at 5 right now, and the board is still not planing. And I'm trying to put my weight all the way forward. Still not enough. Oh, there you go. Bluetooth connection. It's all good. You can reset again and you go all over again and see. All right, got connected. And let's go. Kick. Here comes the kick. Now, guys, this doesn't happen all the time. Doesn't mean you're gonna lose connection all the time. It might happen once in a while. If it takes too long for it to get up, like I am doing right now, as a beginner. Now, an expert will be up already. I'm at 6 right now. Tip of the nose. Still trying to get more speed. Hard to do this with one hand. At 6. Going for 7. There you go. Now I'm planning more speed. Going for 8. But you gotta keep your weight all the way to the front. There we go. Once you keep weight to the front, you get more speed. You're planning now. There you go. I'm at 8 right now. Now be careful, because once you're at 8, this thing just will take off. So now I slow down, put 2, 3, put my weight on. Now I go up again, because I'm standing up. Now I'm back again to 5. Now I can stand up. And finally, at 6, I'm up on foil. So the problem is, not problem, but just that's what the board behaves. You do have to spend a lot of energy to get the board to plane first. Throw, in my case, up to 6, 7 gear. But then once you start playing, you won't take off very fast. So I suggest you to slow down, put the board on the water, then stabilize and stand up. Let me rephrase again. The board is not going to be losing contact. The Bluetooth is not going to be losing contact all the time. As long as you're efficient, you keep the board playing on the surface. But if you keep the board deep down for quite some time, you might lose the Bluetooth connection. So it doesn't happen that often. Once you are on the foil on this, man, there's no better sensation. This thing just turns in a dime. It's super nimble, super light, and it doesn't feel like you have anything in the front of you because it's such a short board. And it responds to anything you do. Super, super nimble. As I said, it doesn't feel like you have nothing at all beneath your legs. You taller guys out there might run out of space. The board is so short that you might run out of space a little bit. I'm 5'10", I'm just comfortable at it. But 6'2" or so, I don't know how your legs will be standing on this. I have a love and hate partnership with this board. It's so cool, so much fun, yet it can be very sketchy, especially if you're on a flow series wings. Alright, let me go back to shore and wrap this up. Coming for landing, it can be a little bit tricky because there's no volume. So once you lose speed, you gotta really jump into the deck right away, otherwise you sink. Oh, which is my case right there. Keep your legs on the board so you don't lose the board. And that's it. So it's just a little bit tricky. Alright guys, I know I did this review on the board and talking loud, trying to do as best as I can, but I know it can get windy over there. You might not hear. So I'm gonna wrap it up by giving a very quick thoughts about Reach board and what they do. Hang in there, just a very quick thought. And so in case if you didn't hear everything that I said while I was riding the board. Almost done, hang in there. All right guys, I'm so sorry for making such a long video, but now I'm finally gonna give my final thoughts because sometimes you can't hear anything that I say once I'm riding. So let's start with the Flyboard Original. The beginner's board is definitely a board for a beginner, people who has no experience at all whatsoever. If you are between 90 to 100 kilos or 200 or 22 pounds and you have no athletic or no experience at all whatsoever, that is definitely board you should go and start with. And also, let's put one thing in consideration. If it's a board that you're gonna share with the family, with your friends, with your wife and so forth, that's also a very safe board for you to have to start with. And even you can even ride tandem on that board, which I'm gonna make a video pretty soon about that. It's kind of sketchy, but it's pretty cool. So beginners, definitely, no doubt, a very safe board. let's talk about the Pro. The Pro for me, in my opinion, is the best board all around because it can still have a lot of progression on the board, even though around it's or how the foil. On the long board or the bigger board, you can still change the wings and have some progression. However, the swing weight for being such a long board and having 100 liters is still gonna be a little bit slow, but not as fun, but it's still gonna have progression. Now, going back to the Pro, as I was saying, that board, it gives you such a range of progression. If you are 200 pounds, 220 pounds, 90 to 100 kilos, and you are an experienced person, you're active and so forth, you could start with that board as a beginner if you are very active. Me, for instance, I'm at about 200 pounds, 195, 200 pounds, and I do wing foiling. I start wing foiling before I start e-foiling. And I surf as well. So for me, it was perfect. It was just perfect board for me. I definitely have to go to the beginner board. Once again, if you're in that condition, and if you are a 75 kilos, around 75 kilos, 75 kilos, 160, 165 pounds, you probably could use that board as a beginner as well, because the flotation will be just enough for you. All right. Finally, going now to the Pro, the mini Ultra. I'm sorry, the Ultra. I have a love and hate situation with that board. It's a super fun board to have. However, if you are, once again, the bracket weight of 90 to 100 kilos, 200 pounds, 200 pounds, 220 pounds, and a beginner and have no experience, I would not try that board, because you're gonna spend a lot of time trying to figure out its buoyancy, and it's gonna have no buoyancy at all. You're gonna get angry. I don't suggest you starting on that. If you are 75 kilos to 160 pounds and active, you probably could start on that board. Very active, you could start on that board. It's gonna take a much longer learning curve, but it's definitely for the expert. However, once you get on that board, the only downside that I found about that board is that although you might even use an expert and an intermediate, you're gonna get beat up. But even as an expert, if you have that board on choppy water, open ocean, choppy conditions, and wind, is still a bitch to get up, man. I'm not kidding. I get beat up. I'm sure that you can still get up on it, but it's difficult. It is hard to get in on that board on a very choppy, windy day. The only way you can get up on that is actually going downwind, because if you're going upwind on that board, on the tiny one, Ultra, upwind on a choppy day, it's gonna be hard because the board just won't stay up. Anyhow, this is it, guys. I hope this video was helpful. By all means, if you have any questions, contact me below. Let me know what's going on. If you have any ideas for new videos, that's fine. Please stay tuned. I'm heading to California, San Francisco pretty soon for the Flyboard headquarters. I'm gonna try to find out all the good news that's coming up for all of us. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for staying to the end. Be good to each other. Consider subscribing. Take care.